Today I'm experimenting with my jelly plate. I'm trying a little bit of the Crusty techniques with some of the DecoArts media line that's kind of translucent. So I'm just putting my first layer, which is black. I'm trying to get a stained glass look. And then I'm going to come in with Payne's Gray through a second stencil. I'm just using a smaller jelly plate to roll the colors on. And I'm just going to mask off some areas with some plastic. And add some bright colors on top of the Payne's Gray. I probably should have waited for this to dry longer. I think that's the only thing I should have done. And then I'm adding my last color here, just a little bright yellow. And then I'm going to let that dry just a little bit, and I'm going to add a layer of white for cleanup print. And I got a real watercolor effect. I do like the effects that I got with the colors on top of the colors. And I'm just trimming it down, and I'm going to come back in with some tulips, black slick paint, and go back over where the original stacked books stencil just was a little too light for my taste. And then this is, since I used it sideways, it's shorter. So I'm going to add it at the bottom as well. And it does look like a stack of books, or it could be a stained glass. I'm going to experiment with it again now that I know it'll work. I just need to let it dry longer and maybe come in. I may even piece it. So now I'm just going to continue to explore with the DecoArts media line and their translucency. I'm going over with a bunch of old jelly prints that I maybe brayer papers and just using some odds and ends. Now that's a dictionary print that had been sprayed, and some map. And what I'll do is put this aside and use it in collage. I'm just trying to build up some of my collection again. And then this is just some yellows and some titanium white. And I tend to use my brayer papers almost always. And this is a metallic green blue PBO and a tree stencil. And it's on top of a previous gelée print I had done in kind of a blue-gray. And this is the gold, and I'm going to put this on a napkin just to get a background that's gold. You can see the green a little bit, but not really on camera. You can't see it at all. I'll let that dry, then I'll come back to it. I'm just cleaning the plate off. This is a quinacridone gold and quinacridone violet. And I'm going to add that on top of that gold on the napkin. And I pick up some of this ghost print, but I don't get very much of it, so I'll add to that later. Some blue and some titanium, or some turquoise actually, probably, and some titanium buff. And you can see the pink a little bit, not a lot. I'm just doing another layer of the blue by itself. And this is on top of that tree stencil. You can see some detail, but it's really pretty dark. This is the PBO violet blue and a little bit of the DecoArts. I just wanted a really vibrant pink that shimmered. And I'm going to do another napkin. And then I'm going to do a cleanup print with this, using just the white and a little bit of a blue. And this is a piece that I'd already printed of black cardstock that had some iridescent stuff on it in the background. Can't see very much of it. Still quite a bit on the plate, so I'm just going to repeat the process and just use this brayer paper. With some gold and some copper. And Added just that on little bits. Didn't add it all the way. And this is some magenta on top of that to do a cleanup, and it's on top of a piece that had some black and purple already on it with the same stencil actually. You'll need more, I just don't know what till later. Using some blues and turquoises to make a thin layer of the media line, and that same floral stencil. And this is a piece of dictionary print that had a circle on it that I jelly printed, and I just wanted to add something to it. And I'm just picking up the touches of leftover. And I decided to do blue on the side, kind of at an L shape, and then I put some green in this corner and did a little blending on the edges. And this is a piece of matte page that had brayer and had some previous turquoise on it. And this is just copper paint, and I'm going to use the tree stencil and take that one that got really too dark and I'm just getting some of the extra copper. I picked up a little bit of copper on that one. So that's the Titan buff and some of the magenta. And another one of those old tree stencils that was just in a PBO blue, black. And you can see the old stencil in there a little bit, so it needs a little more added to it. That's just a piece of dictionary paper. This is the PBO green blue again. And a piece of black cardstock that had some previous brayer marks on it in turquoise. And that was Titan buff for a cleanup print. on the brayer paper. A layer of blue. Now I'm going to add some pops of black to some of them and do some more cleanup prints with some of it. That didn't lift up much. It was pretty grayed out, but it added some texture there. And left a real thin layer in black, so I'm going to add some reds to do a cleanup print. This is one of my favorite prints of the night. I don't really like this one, so I mess with it, and then in the end I really like it, and it goes too dark. Try to do a cleanup print with it and just obliterate it, but what I end up with is a really dark print. So I go to the white, and it ends up being a pretty nice print. So I take a little of the blue-green and a little of the yellow-green to do a cleanup print. And what happens is I actually get too much paint and it's not lifting up that bottom layer of white. So it kind of neutralizes what the texture I had. So I just tried again. With a thinner coat of paint. So I decided to hit them with a pop of black. And then I think with this translucent yellow, I can still go back to that teal. And it gives me kind of a green and a teal.